Welcome to the Pixelberry Choices podcast. Today I'm joined with a very diehard Choices fan, Brandon, who is also a streamer on Twitch. He's a diehard fan of the Nanny Affairs book and also likes of various other Choices books. In this episode, we talk about the Nanny Affairs book in details, but also at the end we talk about books like It Lives Beneath, It Lives in the Woods, The Laws of Attraction, Slow Burn, and many more about choices in general. Listen to the podcast. Thank you. Okay, so welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to have you here. So can you introduce yourself, Brandon?
As you know, I'm Brandon or Twilight and Cerberus. People know. Uh, I'm a very Twitch streamer, but I seem to have landed in the choices area, which has become pretty important to me in a personal feeling. I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean, you told me about that, and I'm really curious to know more about that. And choices is very special. It holds a very special place in my heart too. So I would definitely love to know about your stories about choice. So you said you're a streamer. So do you stream choices too?
I do not yet. My stream is starting off a little basic. I stream competitive gameplay and some casts, but I'm hoping to expand. I am working on some mobile applications for my computer, so I should hopefully be able to stream some choices, if we're lucky.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to that if you ever stream choices.
I really hope to in the future.
Yeah. So Brendan, as we know, we're going to discuss today about the Nanny Affair book mainly, and then beside, we're going to talk about other books too. So, before we get started with our discussion, I would like to ask you, how did you get into choices?
Um, that's a little interesting. It was actually last year during the pandemic. Uh, it was just after my high school finished. It cut off abruptly my final year, due to the exams having to be cancelled. So I was going through some rough times, I guess you could say. Uh, my emotions, not really knowing what to make of it. All that time off, what my future might be looking like, and then, well, one thing I decided was to just live in the present and just see if I could try something new. And there's one thing that I always knew about was the mobile story applications, which I never really gave a try. And I was thinking maybe this could be good. So I had to surf through, and Choices was actually the first one I found. Um, Opened up, it was simple to use, pretty basic. And then the first story I was actually introduced to was the Nanny Affair, and I just loved the way that it was made. That the art that was put into it, the characters, the depth of the story, the actual love interest. It just all came together, and it was just so heartwarming. It made me feel so, what's the word? Made me feel better about how life goes. Because most people love to read a good story, and most good stories do make you feel better. I know they make me feel better, and it just all fell together really, and I've expanded on that, and I've expanded to the community, into more stories, and it's just much better on how I approach things, and I'm really looking forward to more things in the future with it.
Now, that sounded really passionate, and you sounded really passionate about your experience with choices and about how you discovered it. So I would have to give it to you. I'm really glad that you liked it, and yeah, I understand pandemic, the hard time. I've been through that also, and choices helped me a lot. And it just takes your mind off of things, and it's not. I don't personally feel it's a diversion, but it's not a it's just not only a diversion, but it also gives you creativity. Like you see the fan arts and stuff, and also you can imagine yourself somewhere. It can give you hope, and also real time situation, how to deal with something, what to say if you don't know. You can get all the answers. Wow, I could have said that. So it's really life changing. It could be, if you think about that this way.
Yeah, definitely. I personally see it as just like a kind of outlet. I have a bad day. I can just come home, go through some of my favorite books, and just kind of lose myself. It lets my mind wander, especially when I'm reading a new book and I maybe get left on a cliffhanger, or if I'm just still reading it, I just come up with endless possibilities of what could happen, what is happening, and it's so relieving.
Yeah, I totally understand that, and that's the beauty of choices. So you first played the Nanny Affairs, and well, it's a case, it's a pattern. I'm currently I'm seeing with a lot of people that the first book they play is their favorite book. So yeah, no wonder there the Nanny Affairs is your favorite book.
No, yeah, definitely. I couldn't know, I was one thing when I first started this, I was curious as to how the stories would play out, like, 'cause I know they're all based on different genres, more or less in a romantic setting, but as well as different genres. Like, there was another one I came across, which was, I think it was Witness, because I was looking for something not only a bit of romance, but a bit of action to kind of spice things up and kind of mix in between as well. And then, but when I was on the Nanny Affair, it felt so heartwarming. Like, because I'll admit I had a really dark outlook on life, and then the Nanny Affair, it made me feel better about how life is in general, and how we can improve, and how we can. It's better to look at it from a way more positive standpoint.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And yeah, like I said, you can, if you sometimes these are not just games, but the way they reply, a lot of terms you learn, you can use that in your real life. And if you don't know how to answer to a specific question, if you're too shy, or what's you say introvert, then maybe it doesn't change you from introvert to extrovert, but at least you know how to answer, how to, like, something you can pick up from the storyline. Oh wow, my character did that, I can do this in real life. So it gives you another confidence. At least I have found it that I found that, and you have also. That's what it seems like from your description.
Yeah, definitely. It's like I kind of see games as art sometimes, if that makes sense. Like, most people see games as maybe a distraction, or just an outlet to do something. But if you actually are a gamer and you think deep into what goes into making a game, the depth of the story, the art, the actual emotions that they actually build up, especially in those deep stories such as The Last of Us or The Walking Dead. It's so strong and passionate, and it gives such a strong message, and it's just so heartwarming to see other gamers see it the same way. And the same goes for the mobile choices games. You just It gives such a strong message, and it tries to get some of them even try to get points across, as such as one of the most recent ones is Tell Me Why. I believe that was actually a game that had a strong message about suicide prevention. I believe it was. I'm not too sure. I might have to do some more research on that. But the point is, some games have such an amazing, strong message, and it's just such a nice way to get them across. In the form of an interactive game where you can feel a part of it, and you can feel as part of your main character. You know?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I'm 100% in agreement with your mm, sentiment there, because yeah, game is, some people see, they do see it as a distraction, as just a means to pass time, as a pastime. But I personally feel totally like you. Like it's like in choices also they released a book called it was about the global warming and protecting Earth, the rising tides. And even if it's not a book, also like I said, you can pick up stuff how to react in real life. For some people it's really helpful who don't know maybe like how to do that, and they can learn loads of things. It's really, when you watch a movie you're just watching it, but when you're playing a game, specifically interactive games like choices, you are acting there, so it's your character, you're more involved with that. In a movie you're involved with all the characters, sort of, you're seeing like, oh, this is happening. But in the book you see, you need to develop your character by yourself, you need to do the work, you're not just the observer here, but you need to do some work. You see that, you see other characters, so it's a whole new thing, and it's super awesome. I personally, I do feel the way you feel, that it could be life changing, if not like really life changing, but at least it can add some really 1%, even if it is 1%, and 1% happiness, 1% benefit to an individual life if they played this way, choices or any other interactive game.
No, yeah, definitely. And it's like the more in-depth games like choices like The Walking Dead Telltale series or Skybound series,
Yeah.
you have to make the choices and you have to make the decisions that actually have the impact of the game. So you will actually choose the outcome. You've got to think about how certain choices will affect everyone, consequences and actions, and it makes it feel so much more strong and passionate about it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's super awesome, the power, they contain, and if you can feel it, it's really super awesome. And I think that's the point, whatever you're doing, you need to make the most of it and make it productive and make it the way to so that you can use it. So that's the point in everything.
Yeah, definitely. It's just, we as gamers, we see the potential and the messages and just everything that goes into games, as opposed to the people who just see them as distractions. We see them for what they really are. In fact, because people say, such as violence games, they entice violence, when in fact, other games just in they're a great way to get strong messages across, because games are a big part of the world, about the
Mhm.
world itself, and people can sometimes confide in games. And personally, I believe they get past a strong message way more than articles or newsreaders. They bring off a stronger message in a story, and they actually appeal to more people, especially with the way that, famous
Yeah.
YouTubers and Twitch streamers are able to even spread that message further with their publicity. And, even they appeal to it. They give their own opinions on it, and they even, they feel a part of it. So it's personally a great way to get a message across.
Yeah, exactly. That's totally right. I mean, it's super awesome. The power is so strong with that. I mean, and specifically choices, I personally, because this is the game I have played for such a long time. I'm not a person like, I never played any game for a long time. I would get bored. I would play for over a short period of time, then I'll uninstall it, then I'll reinstall it again. But choice has been the game I have played for a long time. And I have never uninstalled it unless or until for some technical issues. So it has really helped me in a lot of ways. It's really it holds a very special place in my heart. Yeah, other than there's another game, Among Us, before it updated the version, so that's the game. But beside that, this game is like, I've been playing it for the long haul.
Yeah, I feel you. I personally wasn't the same about mobile games in general. Like, I played my standard video games, FPSs, competitive shooters, etc. In terms of mobile games, I would download, but they won't even last even a day. But then once I came across choices, it's one app that cannot leave my phone. It has become something special and something a part of me that I don't want to let go.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. That's exactly my feelings. So, let's talk about the nanny affair. That is that also holds a very special place in your heart. That's what it seems like. You first started playing choices when you first played the Nanny Affairs book. So when you first started playing it, how did you feel about this? Because It was a new feeling. The books. Overall, what was going through your mind when you first started playing this? Can you talk me through that?
Um, when I first actually played it, I was surprised. That was my initial reaction. I was surprised at the depth that the writers went into for the emotion that it gave out. And then as I went through the book, I became more sentiment to it. I became more a part of it. You know, especially in like some of the saddened scenes. I even shed a tear or two. I It just felt so apart. Like, 'cause it made it sound like I was in there, like I was part of that story, and just the way it was written out, the way it was set up, and like especially with the characters. The main character, a free young woman, very smart, just got out of a science degree, chemistry degree, one or the other. She's trying to take on multiple things, and when I first initially thought of it, the main character becoming an addy, I thought, how really hard can that be? It's a caretaker job, a nanny, looking after a couple kids, living your life. But it expanded more to what I originally thought, and to what a lot of people had originally thought. This nanny wasn't just a nanny; she became something special to them.
Exactly.
She became a part of them. She got close to Sam. She got close to the boys, and she learned things. She got close to the family. She learned all about them, what they were like. And one of the things that I actually liked is they liked her for who she was. Even though she wasn't rich and CEO like they actually wanted, but they didn't disgrace her for who she was. Because people could see to them that she was more of a commoner, a peasant, even as Zofia would try and call it. But no, she was herself, and she wasn't afraid to be herself. That's one thing I really respected. She would never not speak her mind. She would always speak up for herself and others. And she would always put the benefit of them first. She's just a strong character for such a young, dependable woman, really. And that just it was so heartwarming to see. And it made me want to think and maybe reassure myself about the world that there are real people out there like that try to make a difference in the world, and they actually have a good impact on it. So overall, my emotions, they grew, and they became so much more than I could ever have anticipated they'd become with this book.
Yeah. I mean, the way you explained it really is powerful. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I felt the same way when I played my first book, High School Story. It was like that. It was more real at the point because I was in my first year of college, so that was like wow. It resonated with that also. So yeah, I totally agree with that. And the Nanny Affairs, it's a really famous book. I feel like it's one of the highlight books of last year. The Nanny Affairs book. This year we haven't gotten that kind of a highlight book from choices yet. But the Nanny Affairs is definitely one of the highlight book from from choices the last year, and I really like this book for many reasons. We're gonna come to that, but yeah, you're absolutely right. The book, I say it. It's just like it's not just about nanny, but you come as a nanny, and then they become a part of their family, and yeah, absolutely. Like Sam, she's a CEO. Sorry, they are a CEO, and big. They have money and everything. They're such a rich person, and then just a nanny. So in most cases, they're like, oh yeah, and maybe they would just use them as a fling, sometimes. But actually showing emotions for them, respecting them, and making a part of their family, and how the kids approached them. It was really wholesome, and the whole relation between them. It's just not about, people say it's just, if you see the category, you would see nanny, CEO, sexy, something they have written as like the category or the genre. But it's more than that. It's just not about Sam and our main character. It's about also our main character and the two kids, Mason and Mickey, the bond that's really special. I mean, the whole story is definitely about, you see the poster, you see, oh wow, this book is all about hot and cold, but it's just not about that, you know. It runs deeper. The beautiful bond, the innocent bond that our main character has with the kids, the way the kids crave our, we have seen on multiple occasions when our MC, the nanny, was almost expelled, but the kids were so sad. So that was really super awesome. No?
Yeah, definitely. And it's like you said, that part where she she had to expel herself near the end, where she potentially had to give it all up, but just the fact that she was willing to do it for all of them, putting them before her, it shows real strong ingenuity. And personally, I think personally, Sam couldn't have picked a better life partner. You know, it's she 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 not only came in as a nanny and adapted to the family, but she changed them. You know, Sam was pretty amazing as well to start off with, but it's like personally, I saw her as kind of could have been perfect, but she had her many flaws, and the main character coming in took out many of those flaws and turned her into a better person. You know, especially as you go through the story, she, especially that chapter, I think it was chapter 17. It was the beach day, but she was called into work, and then the main character confronts her about it, and it's like the flashback of history. One of her many flaws was putting work first. Like, granted, it's for the boy's legacy, you're willing to do everything for it, but then she hit her with the hard stuff, you know? Her family did the same thing, and realistically, even though you want a good future for them, you don't want them to have a future to think back where the only thing that there was missing was the time with the parent, the mother, the father. It's really heartwarming actually. But
Yeah.
to see her come back and change her for the better, it was really strong.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that now. You know, I think Sam was going to Italy for some job, and she was leaving the kids behind. And then suddenly she changed her. They changed her plan, and then Sam said, "No, I will take the kids with me." And it was only because you know, our main character had the conversation with Sam on that, like, look, what's right. And I remember, like, it was really angry main character's thing. Okay, you don't think about me, that's okay, you know, I don't want you to think about me because we just met, and it's understandable. You don't think about the nanny, that's perfect, but what about the kids? You need to there was a moment, there was a time in the scene, you're so angry, there was, you know, you can have an intimate moment while you were angry with Sam, and that was super awesome, by the way. I remember that part you're talking about.
Yeah, definitely. It's like the fact that they had these fights, but they kind of reconciled, and they did agree. They came to a standpoint. They understood. It made them stronger in their relationship. Because they understood their flaws. They worked them out together. And the one thing is, Sam was, she was, they were different whenever the main character was around. Whenever they weren't around, they were all just dead sighted, focused. They didn't really play by emotions. They kind of blocked their emotions out and they just played by main thinking and keeping it focused. But when the main character was around, she changed. She became more open. She used her emotions. And granted, I can understand that being a bad thing in her case because, as most people say, emotions cloud judgment. In some cases, I think it does, but in some cases, I think it doesn't. As long as I'd say if you can manage your emotions but keep your mind clear, I'd say that's a good perfect boundary to have. And then just the way that she adapted herself, she fell for the main character, she actually fell in love as opposed to what happened in the past, which we learned early on that she actually lost her wife rather drastically, and that definitely hit a pang in my heart, you know. And then just what she was trying to do for the kids, for her deceased wife. I can understand why she'd want to block her emotions out. You've lost this one person close to you that was the love of your life. You don't want to open yourself up anymore. You become this hardened struck person building these walls around you. Like death affects people differently.
Yeah.
Mostly in the case of a bad way, they bottle themselves up. They don't open themselves up. They try to block themselves out to prevent anything happening or to prevent them, maybe falling for someone else, as if it may feel like betrayal or the fear of losing someone again.
Yeah, I mean, different people react differently to the same situation. Some people really bounce back well. They manage themselves. They sort of get back to the track. But some people they react differently. I remember in It Lives in the Woods book, after Jen's death, all of the guys got separated because they wanted to stay away from each other. So it's just about how you react to something. So Sam reacted that way. It was their prerogative, and but yeah, I mean, but that was a wrong way of living. Even though something bad happened, they were just putting themselves in danger. But then our main character as a nanny comes into the play, and then sort of uh, saves her and saves them and their life, and also the twins, because I can't even imagine like how horrible it would have been if Sophia were their stepmom.
Oh, good God, no! That's putting it mildly. That would be a recipe for disaster. That would definitely ruin their childhood, I believe. And how could it not? I mean, Zofia, she's this tyrant. She kind of leads by fear and intimidation. She feels she's intimidating to younger women, i.e., main character, but she's not been intimidated personally. I think she she's this hard-headed businesswoman that frankly not many people want to put up with. She's this person who doesn't care. She definitely blocks out emotion. I doubt most people even have emotion like that. And it's like the judgment. Well, the judgment is based on their ego personally, and it's just the way she acted throughout the story. The way, especially the way she saw the kids. Mason and Mickey. She didn't see them as kids. She saw them as a liability, a thorn in her side, if you will. They're just an absolute problem. Like, I genuinely think she cared about Sam for a short
Yeah.
time, maybe in the past or maybe in the present, maybe a bit both. But that kind of fell when she had the affair. Um, but yeah, she didn't see the kids as kids. She just saw them as a problem that she couldn't get rid of, but she was willing to tolerate until maybe possibly a future. If she'd have gotten married with them, maybe she would have found a way to get rid of them. So I dread to think what would happen if she became their stepmother, knowing the person that she is.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. It would have been horrible, and but the way the story progressed at first, we are a nanny, we are finding a job, we have a dream about the same, our boss. I don't know how it was like, we see our boss, then we are having an intimate moment with the boss, and then we go to work, we see the same person. So that was a quite, I was unable at first to get my to wrap my head around that, because I was thinking, wait, did I miss anything? How could we see the same person whom I have never seen before, and then I see at the job? So, how did you feel about that first moment?
That's Yeah, that kind of got me too. It was like it was like part of me thinks it was part of the thing of you know like kind of foreseeing possible futures and possibilities, and that one intimate moment at the start off with the main character, with Sam, that makes me think that that was just the tipping point for what started, because she fell for Sam. Like, she recognized who she was thinking about and who she thought about before she even met her, before she possibly even knew her. And it's like, it's like, obviously with the main character pursuing that, I think they personally knew that that was the thing they saw, and that this is a sign to do something, to see where this goes, to see what this could really be, and just and in fact, it was in fact what she turned out, and it affected. I think it was a good hindsight, Kind of wish there was more of that in the world, but no such thing as possibility of dreams in the future. Well, possibly.
Yeah, I I definitely agree with that. Um, like the way it was possibility, yeah, I mean we see something and then it really happens. And also the artwork that we saw, when we first we entered the office, and I think Sam, they were sitting on the desk, and that was mind-blowing. That the artwork, it still lives through the choices fandom. They make different kind of poses and stuff with that. They had different faces, so that was super famous, no?
Yeah, definitely. That I fell in love with that picture right off the bat. I actually kind of grabbed it, and it's now my lock screen. It's just every so that way when I wake up, I can see something, warm, reflecting to brighten my day up if I know it'll be a bad day ahead or maybe even a warm day ahead, but something to keep my spirits up and something to always look at if I'm feeling down. But yeah, they definitely went into amazing depth with the artwork. Because well, they do say first impressions really do matter, and I think that kind of first impression we got of Sam was really uplifting. We felt a
Yeah.
part of her, and just the way she was, she was just this elegant, magnificent woman or magnificent man, just But they didn't look. I don't know how to say this, but they didn't look like the typical CEO of brandish tactics and hard-headed stubbornness like Sophia. They looked like genuine people who cared, like the right people in the world, and they kind of labeled that out with the artwork at the start, which was really magnificent.
Yeah, I totally agree with that sentiment. Yeah, I mean, it was a really awesome. I saw that, I was like, wow, this better be interesting, because this book definitely holds a lot of interesting stuff ahead. Because if this is like this, then God knows what is gonna come.
Yeah, definitely. That was another thing that really sold me. Just the fact that they opened up with all this artwork. Like there was the artwork of the transition in the intimate scene at the start before we get to the actual Fall on Sam. Just
Yeah,
the artwork went so much into it. They always I've heard some people say that in their eyes, art tells a story, and well, in fact, in the story, and it did. It opened this kind of pathway to love and intimacy, like the actual make you actually feel loved, like that's what most people just want. They want to feel love. They want to be part of someone, be with someone. And just the way the amount of effort that went into that artwork was absolutely amazing. Props to the artist there. And then the editors to give that little spice up, especially with the lighting as well. That was matched in beautifully. So I personally say hats off to the writers at Pixelberry. They do an amazing job.
yeah, absolutely. It was like the artwork and the way it was like totally done. The whole book, the way it was done, it was fabulous. And yeah, they deserve credit for that. And you gotta give credit where credit's due. So yeah, that I totally agree with that. That was super fantastic. Um, and the way the story progressed, at first, we come to know that our friend, I think Jenny, she tells us, well, Sam is gonna get married. And then the whole way, I still remember the way says, let's kiss, let's make Sam jealous. I know how to make Sam jealous. And then we we kiss and do some stuff, and then Sam was really jealous, and also we were getting jealous seeing Sam and Sophia together. Sam was also like, so that is, when we were getting close with Sam, maybe at the rooftop, and then Sophia was coming, and we're like, oh, we gotta stop now. So let's say that forbidden romance. How did you, throughout the first 8 or 9 chapters, I personally totally felt that forbidden romance part. I mean, I was like, wow, this is like, I want that, but I can't have that. So I don't know if any other books have this awesome forbidden romance part in them, but I enjoyed it in here. How did you feel about the forbidden romance part with Sam?
Personally, I think I think the forbidden romance is the kind of strongest, because the fact that it's something that's not supposed to happen just means that it's that much stronger. You care more, you put more into it. The fact that you're willing to take significant risks to be with this person that you care for so much, I feel it's more stronger than more typical love. Like, granted, there's the love at first sight, and the meeting someone, but not as strong as this. Not with the fact that you're putting in so much time and effort, and as well as the just ignoring the risks and willing to go with what goes to do what it takes. It's uplifting, really. It feels much more stronger than the different types of love.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely do agree with that. And yeah, it's different, it's fun, and it's really awesome. And it's really fun to watch and see that and definitely read for that's for sure. Yeah, and I really enjoyed that. Like it's like on and off a relationship. Like you really you get close sometime, and then you go, no, I gotta stop it because I gotta be aware if someone doesn't I gotta make sure that someone doesn't notice us, someone doesn't see us here, and then you keep your distance, you act differently. So it was like fun, and that was pretty much part of it. I was like, wow, I gotta play this chapter now because this is interesting. When we went there, then we were sad at next moment, seeing Sophia and Sam together. So that was the highlight for the book, for the first half of this book.
Oh, definitely, that was an outstanding highlight. And if there's one thing I really liked, it was just the passion that they had for each other. And if there's one thing I always love it, it was the always the jokes that I could paint a really funny image in my head, like the one where Zofia opened the cake with the prank and the icing just splattering all over that. Oh, I couldn't stop laughing after that one. It was just such a funny image to paint, and then just the to see the main characters' reactions and emotions, mainly in the engagement part. It was, it kind of like, we know they had she felt forbidden love. She had the illusion, but that part of the moment, it made her question it. It made her question, is this real? Is this just me being, being naive? Is this me just being thinking this is what I want to think? What is this? Like, does she really care? I mean, yeah, we've had the intimate moments, but that might just be this kind of love and affair. It's like, she started questioning herself, questioning her emotions, her judgment, and especially when Zofia came in when she went to the bathroom, that wasn't pleasant. You know, one thing Zofia did was she just tried to kind of rub it in the face as well, and I can see. And the one thing as well, she wasn't timid by it. She wasn't really intimidated. She tried to fight back. She tried to hit back, but just the way Zofia is, she's manipulative. She gets in your head, and she twists it. And with the main character's state of mind before going into the bathroom, and then Zofia going in and just twisting it even more, I think could have
Mhm.
been damaging had the rooftop scene not happened.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with that. That was a very strong scene. That was a very special scene.
Mm. Just the way it all planned out, and then they had this little reconcile moment, and then you got the rooftop. I mean, I personally had my character say, this is real. I'm gonna fight for this, and then she sets out after chapter. I think the engagement part was chapter 6. She sets off, and she's determined with this goal in sight, and she's ready to do it, whatever it takes, all in.
Yeah, yeah, that desperation, like you have to, the feeling, the rush, the adrenaline rush, and the how you feel about that. That was super awesome. If you get something quite easily, that's like wow, it's that's done and dusted. But the kind of fight, the kind of struggle, the kind of hardship they went through together, and I think they're still gonna go through that. So that's super awesome, and that's worth reading.
Oh yeah, definitely. And they've had their fights now and then, but in a way as well, fights and arguments, debates, they're what make a relationship stronger, because it's as if they're the one of the final turning points, as if to show will this relationship work out, and in fact it did. You know, they had their arguments, had the squalls, and especially one near the end, which was after her
Hmm.
accident. Sam finally saw reality, and she was hit with a temporary change, which could have been permanent had it been affected differently afterwards or beforehand. And it's like, she had to make a choice then and there, and she finally came to her senses. She followed her heart instead of her gut, which she does as well. But the fact that she finally went for the heart, and but then they got into that argument. Main character was going to leave everything, let her have the life that she deserves for her kids, and leave. That argument got heated, and then things got kind of awkward going into the party again. But they have another moment on the dance floor. She was hurt by what she said, but she
Yeah.
still wanted it to work out. She still wanted to be with her, and then that's when we get the revelation of the affair, which kind of blocked the emotion out for a second, but it kind of, in a way, it kind of made them stronger once they found out about Zophia's affair. They felt, I can't explain it really. You can't really say you feel better when you're both having the affair because you're both in the wrong. But at least, like when Sam said on her wedding, she said, we're both in the fault. We're clearly not meant for each other. We don't get along. The fact that we both did those things proves that we really shouldn't be together. And it was that kind
Yeah.
of eye-opening thing that she needed to get through.
Yeah, yeah, that was a fun moment too. Yeah, like I said, eye opening and defining, sort of. To be honest, if you wanna say that.
Definitely.
um, and the subway accident that happened with our main character, that really opened Sam's eyes, because before that Sam was like, well, I can't marry, we have to live. She's like, look, um, we love each other, maybe you'll go your different way, you'll be so big one day, we will see each other a long time later, and then we will still crave each other, but we'll not be able to touch each other, those kind of things they were saying. And suddenly after the accident they changed, like, no, you know they were able to set their priorities straight, and they knew what is more important to them, and then they were like, no, I gotta cancel the wedding, at least I gotta try, and I gotta get my girl.
Yeah, and it especially makes it more impactful when the fact that Robin even said that she doesn't believe love will strike twice. She doesn't believe she'll find anyone else. That the one person she had is gone. There's nothing more after that. But the fact that everything that they went through proves otherwise, and then the fact that she was making to make that choice after the accident, she just refused and couldn't face the reality without the one person that she needed and loved, which was really heartwarming.
Yeah, I agree with that. I totally agree with that. That was super awesome. That was sort of the highlights, so to speak.
Mm.
And coming to that, I remember the Italy scene when we went to Italy. That was super fun, in lots of ways. And I remember at one point Sophia caught us together, but they didn't say she didn't say anything. She was like, she was planning the big thing slowly. So how do you feel about that?
Yeah, that one felt kind of off, because granted, I will give her credit for actually being able to use stealth, actually getting a little dirty to, I say a little dirty,
Yeah,
to
like a guy.
actually, play the game, have some fun. But personally, I think she did see something. But the fact that she was already, in the affairs, she didn't bother saying anything, because she knew about them, but she had her own thing going on. She didn't care. I think with knowing that, she knew something was going to take on, like she was going to have to confront her about it at some point. But I think at that point, she just didn't care. She already knew what was going on, and then, frankly, it just seemed like a Zofia thing. She was able to read the main character, kind of like she could see how her emotions were around Sam and how more evolved they got. so she could kind of read it. So it was kind of understandable. And then just the Italy scene in general was absolutely amazing. It actually showed, them being together as if it was a possible glimpse of what it could be like if they were a family. Especially the cliff jumping one. That was definitely one of my favorite episodes because that was actually the full heartwarming experience with the whole family and not Zofu.
Yeah, yeah. And if you use diamonds to play that scene, that was really awesome because you go to, you leave the kids behind for a sec, and then you go to enjoy it in a different way. Then also you have a chance to enjoy the kids also. So that was a whole new experience, I would say.
And definitely the way that, especially when they starting to jump off the cliffs, Mason feeling a little uneasy about it. The fact that the main character was there, just again with the bond that they have, she was able to confront her, and she even had science on her side to give her a bit of a hand, which was more useful than it seemed. They were one thing as well. They were really interested in science, which I think they took after Sam and their other mother. But it was heartwarming. It was really, again, you know, just to see them, this glimpse of what a possible future could be like, which I hope we can see in book two. Just this glimpse of them being, the happy family that they wanted. The boys
Yeah,
getting the mother,
one big
well,
happy
stepmother
family.
they deserve, and a time with their mother, and just a life they can enjoy as regular kids.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I totally agree with that. Agree with your that sentiment, and it's totally true. One big happy family, the concept, like you said, really super awesome. We see in this book, Nanny Affairs. Um, and also with the kids, I remember we get a, like I said before, that it was not only the book about Nanny and the CEO, forbidden romance, love story, but it was also about how being a mother to two kids, and who are like the stepmother, and then you sort of make them your own, and it's more from mother being friends. And I think that's the thing, whether you are real parent, or I mean, sorry, excuse my terminology, biological parents, or step parent. The thing is that you gotta be friends with them, and the way, you always be friends, and you always be encouraging them, and keeping them on the right track. And the way our MC behaved, like taking them to the truck, some food truck, to celebrate with them, have fun with them, and everything going above and beyond for them. And so I felt that was super awesome. And I personally felt, the book mainly, if it wasn't for the twins, there wouldn't have been a nanny book, because the nanny job, and more, I think the bond was mainly between our MC, and then the two kids, Mickey and Mason, two boys. And that was like, and then it expanded to Sam. So it was super awesome. So how did you feel about that
I think,
on
yeah,
various
like you
occasions?
said, there wouldn't be a book if it was just about the, love interest. It was something that wasn't just about, the ending being meeting this special someone and being with it. It was about opening a complete new chapter, a new family, and just
Yeah,
opening a pathway of doors for you. It started with the kids, and you actually managed to around with the mother, and it's or the father. It's just, you build this bond. You feel like you were already part of the family. It's something rare you see in, I guess you could say, in step parents. Well, not official step parents, but nannies. But you get what I mean. It can be rough, especially if the kids don't, they don't see you
yeah,
as their real parent. They could, they don't feel they have the same bond. But the fact that the main character built that same bond was really extraordinary. She sympathized with them. She comforted them. She put, she went above and beyond for them, like you said. She did not as well
yeah,
what she just had to do, but she did what she would do for it
yeah.
all because that's just the person she is. And she, like I said, she would go above and beyond for those kids. Like as if they were her own flesh and blood.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like going above and beyond for the kids, and that was the highlight of the book, one so far, and I really liked it. And the engagement specifically, I have to tell you this. Do you remember you get to play this diamond scene, like how the kids embarrassed Sophia in the while marriage? I think that was not done, of course. So the way they embarrass Sophia. So that was hilarious. Did you play the diamond scene?
Yeah, I did. I was reluctant. I say reluctant. I was happily able to play all the diamond scenes to get the full experience. And I have to say that last scene, it wasn't just hilarious. It was also really eye-opening as well. It was also really heartwarming. You saw how the kids were affected by the fact that they even possibly had a future without their
Mhm.
nanny. The woman who cared for them just as much as their real mother, and they even hit her with the straight facts. That she didn't care. She didn't even care about their own mother. She just cared about her business and everything else.
Yeah,
And she got absolutely shut down by
yeah,
two amazing brought up boys by two amazing women. She was bethralled, if that's even a word.
yeah. I totally agree with your that sentiment. Yeah, it was super awesome. That's super cool fact about that book. And all the scenes I've enjoyed. And I don't know, I have liked a book this much from the first chapter to last chapter. Specifically, the recent books, old books. Yeah, I've definitely liked them, all of the chapters. But this was a really something that I really enjoyed. And the way like I said before, the accident took place, and Sophia. And by the way, did you, the Sophia and Robin when we catch them? So no, they also made the people also made a meme about that. Sophia holding stuff. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, personally, I felt something was off the first time I played with Zofia when she didn't attend the gala. I knew something was off. The fact because she'd been preparing so much for this, and I actually brought my skepticism into a book. I'm trying to work out theories and facts, and yeah, just the way that she started acting felt super off. And then my later suspicions confirmed it. She was having an affair. It made sense. And then one thing that actually kind of I wanted to feel heartwarmed about was the fact that she got on the stage to embarrass the main character. Yet, if I remember correctly, technically, I'm pretty sure she had the affair before we did because she was at the gala. She would have been down to business already. So, but yeah, throughout the whole story, something just fell off. She was significantly more scarce. I think the word is, yeah. She started avoiding, but then when she was back, I will admit she was good at keeping her cool and acting normal. But
Yeah, straight
once
face. Yeah,
once the gala hit, I knew something was off. And then once we saw the texts later on, that even confirmed it. You know, I knew she was clearly cheating, and I was just eager to see because even though she's this quote perfection of a woman, even I knew she would slip up. I was just waiting for it, and eventually we did. The main character strolls out, finds her slipping in the night. Frankly, I was gobsmacked. I mean, couldn't even be more obvious. I knew she'd slip up, but I didn't know she'd be that
yeah,
lazy. It just proves how stubborn and arrogant she is. To think that, oh, it's the middle of the night, it'll be fine. No one's gonna see me at this time. Yeah, shocker. And it's just, she let her guard down. She just proves she's not this perfect woman, this master. She has her own flaws. She can slip up, and that in fact was what hit the main character. And then when she tried to hit back with the fact that she knew about the other affair, it's like, uh, it was a rough part. She acted like she had the perfect moral high ground when in I guess I guess she did, but at the end of the day, she would have destroyed Sam's legacy. She was willing to do that. It just proves how much of a how horrible she is. She was willing to destroy everything Sam had built when she's supposed to be her fiance slash old friend. just proves how much she's willing to do what to get what she wants, and how she personally, I don't see her has any emotions. She's just this stale tyrant that is determined to do what she wants to get what she wants.
Yeah, I agree with that. That was a highlight for Sophia's character, and specifically Robin. Also, we never thought how that would end up, because Robin at first we thought they were helping us, and also they're saying, "Hey, let's make Sam jealous and stuff." So I thought maybe Robin is just a fun-loving person who liked to tease Sam and stuff, but we never thought about that. Like they would go to cheat on Sam, even, because they are basically in a relationship with a person, with a woman who is going to be Sam's wife in someday, very soon. So that was just shocker too with Robin.
Oh yeah, definitely. Robin was the last person I had on my mind. I was absolutely gobsmacked when I saw her in the bathroom, and but then once I did, it made sense. With Robin's personality, she's this maverick, fun-loving. She's kind of like the loyal best friend sister that you want by your side. And I kind of felt betrayed. She, I know she's this maverick and wants to be with people, but to cheat on, to have the affair with her own sister's fiance. I mean, that crosses more of a line than the affair that main character and Sam had. That crosses the line a bit more.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was too much. I mean, that's why Sophia, even she knew that maybe something's up between us and Sam. She kept quiet. Like she was like, "Yeah, go on, keep screwing her up. I wouldn't mind it. Just I would marry her for her money."
Yeah, definitely. And she would do it just to benefit her own company, her own family, her own agenda. She's this tyrant that is laser focused and to get what she wants by any means necessary, regardless of any consequences of how it affects anybody. As long as it doesn't affect her business, or maybe even her family, she will not. She just does not care. I do think she'd be willing to throw her own family under the bus at one point, though. That just seems like the person she'd be.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true. I totally agree with that. So, all in all, how would you like to, if I ask you this question, rate the book One of the Nanny Affairs from 1 to 10? How much would you rate this book?
Personally, I would say, yeah, I would say a 10. It's everything comprised together: the story, the emotion, the art. And one thing I really loved about it throughout was the music and the soundtracks they used throughout the entire story. Absolutely amazing. Each scene was to fit it. I even did my research on the songs used, some used from the other stories, and then majority being the three songs they used and created for the Nanny Affair, which was the Love at Sunset, Secret Glances, and
Yeah,
Blooming Desires. Two of them were these, the blooming desires and secret glances. Those two were very lively, full of life. They made me feel so positive about the world, like I could go out and just do anything, and it made me feel like there's just peace everywhere. And then the love at the sunset one was just so deep, so intimate. It made me feel like I could be vulnerable with someone. I could be with someone. And then the
mm,
various songs used from other stories was just absolutely amazing. They really did a good choice on the music.
exactly. Agree with that. And of course, like, yeah, I mean, Choices music is definitely one thing that I always seem to like, because they have done a very good thing with the music. The musics, they seem to draw you, like when they're on a beach side or when they're somewhere else. The music they play, it draws you to that place. It seems like you were there present, and it just takes your mind, it sweeps you off of your feet, so to speak. Musics are super great. I mean, it's the best. The stories, you can have question about a story, whether the story is good or not, but you can have a question about the music because it's spot on.
Definitely. Yeah, that kind of builds on what I said earlier about the stories, you know, opening endless possibilities in your mind. Combining that with music, that just opens absolutely endless
Yeah,
possibilities with the fact that you've
yeah.
got these stories put in
Boom. Yeah,
with the music. It's just boom, perfect combo.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I absolutely agree with that. Yeah. Um, and of course, this book is super awesome. And now we are, I think, if I remember correctly, I think we have successfully managed to help Sam ditch the wedding with Sophia. And now we are, after having an intimate moment that was diamond scene, we're at a hotel room or somewhere with Sam and the kids. And then Sam gets a text about, this news being published that their marriage is has been called off or something, and there the book ends, and they say, uh, you know, wait for book two. And well, in other books they give a major plot. For instance, when Queen Bee ended, they said there's another plot. So when this book ended, at the end it doesn't give off much, like what could be the plot of book two. But I don't know if you know or not, but in one of the blog posts and in one of the insiders, the choices said the book two is going to come this June, in this summer, so maybe next month. And also they said what we could possibly see in this book. First thing, we can see that we will know the subway. So why Sam fears the subway so much, and when the accident happened, that changed Sam's mind, like I said. So why Sam fears the subway so much and tries to avoid it. And the second thing, probably the major thing about the plot of the book too, they gave us, that was like, um that this time round you may not be the only nanny around in town, may not be the only nanny in town, excuse me. So they say probably there's going to be another nanny in town, and and they're going to give us competition, so that's going to be super awesome. How'd you feel about that?
I'm over the moon. I'm super excited about it. I actually, after I finished the book, I was all over the internet, looking at Q&As and documents about the whole thing, and I even had theories been around, like you said, with the subway. I know I even built up my own theory saying that Sam desperately hates the subway, but it don't make sense. But then there's the only other thing that kind of clicks in, the tragic passing of her wife, I believe. Well, they don't say tragic, but I personally believe the subway had something to do with the passing of her wife, or it happened with her wife that could have been fatal before she passed away. And it just like I said, opens endless possibilities. They finish off, they end up together, and then you've got these scandals coming in. One thing that I was interested in was, it said there was actually an article they said was the real reason Sam Dalton left the alt, and it's like, they've already got all this information. It's like, do they already know everything? Do they know about the main character and everything else? And, it's just the fact that with cliffhangers, it's 50-50. I like a cliffhanger, but they can also be annoying. But one thing I do like about cliffhangers is, again, it opens up endless opportunities. What's going to happen? Are they going to live the perfect life? Are they going to have to, face this scrutiny head on? Like, one thing as well is how is she going to fit in with her family now? How's Robin going to play back into the family after what happened? How the relationship with her parents going to work on? There's just endless questions. And like you said, book two, I was really happy to see that it's coming this summer. I'm really excited for it. And with competition, it depends really. I didn't really like the idea, the fact that they bring in somebody that Sam would cheat on, the main character after everything they've been through. She's truly in love. I think in terms of that competition, it's going to be winning over the kids. Like, she may affect the kids, even though they say they won't be affected worse. But I think it could actually affect, and it could even, maybe she just doesn't per se take over her place, but tries to damage it worse beyond what has happened. And like I said, it just opens up endless possibilities. The ending off, the scrutiny, everything really. And I even think one of the ones I read through was the Q&A. It's like, I can't remember if this is correct, so don't quote me. I believe they said there's a possibility of multiple endings in the second book. I believe that was a possibility. So I was kind of intrigued about that. It's gone from a single love interest with a single ending, with the fact of possible endings, which was interesting, but also kind of saddening, because it opens the fact that this whole thing could end badly, and it could just be the end of both of them, which is kind of saddening, but it's understandable. So, but maybe that's not the case. Maybe I read it wrong, and then I just delved into more info about the story itself. The character Robin, and even they, when they were doing the Q&A, were surprised of how much the fandom loved Robin. I mean, I love Robin.
Yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
were amazing. This Maverick, this amazing friend. I personally hope they were able to rekindle with them in the second book and become for them to become a part of us. Again, because granted, what she did was bad, but in a way, it kind of helped. Because if you think about it, if Sophia never had the scrutiny thing, Sam would just feel all the guilt, and she probably still would have gone through with the wedding. Whereas the fact that she had an affair with her own sister, no doubt, that definitely sought the vision to go to follow her own heart and her
Yeah,
dreams. And
yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
just absolutely amazing though. But the book overall was just absolutely amazing. I replay it every other time. I absolutely love the character models, the detail, and the fact that a lot of people were mad that we couldn't romance Robin, as well, uh, as well, which was kind of funny. But the fact is, the most recent book that's come out, Laws of Attraction, the female Robin player model is actually available for a steamy one night stand.
Yeah, Lena.
That yes, Rena Reyes, and in fact, I kind of saw some similarities between Lena and Robin. Besides the player model, but it definitely perked the fandom up a bit, which was really happy to see. But yeah, yeah, yeah. I do hope I kind of hope they don't go through with the multiple endings. If I read that right, I hope it's kind of one-sided. They get this ending. It may be rough, but they open up, and I do hope Sam doesn't be any more reckless than she has been. Same can be said for the main character. But I am really looking forward to the next book.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, Robin, she was really famous, and I think I read one of the Q&A or something. I don't remember, or it was a theory page or somewhere. I think they said fans could be up for a surprise, and that was from the Robin side because a lot of people liked Robin. They were like, "Oh, give us Robin already." I mean, they were like, "Well, this is a one love interest book. I don't care. I want Robin." So Robin was really popular, and at that point, when we could kiss Robin to make Sam jealous, they were like, "Well, now we want Robin." So, and that was quite interesting too. That was super awesome because Robin, that thing, it was making a really complicated thing in love circle, like because there was Sophia with Sam at the moment, and Sam was jealous. Like, oh wow! So it was like we were also sad to see Sophia with Sam, and then we were with Robin. Sort of that was a make believe too, but it was super awesome, and I see why people liked Robin so much. Yeah, I liked Robin too, specifically for the drama part, but I would choose definitely Sam over Robin on any day. But yeah, but maybe we can see maybe Robin would be there, like you say, multiple endings. So there could be there that Robin becomes a love interest at the point, or even not a love interest. Then I don't know if you have played America's Most Eligible, but how in America's Most Eligible, at the very end you get Slater or Bianca. You can choose them, so that can happen. Like at the very end. So we don't know. We never know unless we play, and that's the most important thing. And yeah, with another nanny coming in, it could be tough. But yeah, it'll get. I don't see like Sam another nanny just walk like you said. If they just walk in and then Sam would be like, "Well, I don't care about this. I'm gonna go with them now." I don't think that's gonna happen. That's absolutely not gonna be the case. The scenario. So I think, but it could be the case. I have to see how they represent it because what kind of competition they can give. Is it a competition for just a job position? Because I don't know if we're just gonna be a nanny anymore. Because after book 1, I think we're gonna be more than a nanny. So, but if another nanny comes in, then I don't know. It could be like maybe they don't need a nanny. So then I don't know how they're gonna go with this, but I'm really waiting for that. And maybe they're gonna do something so that there would be they could potentially become a love interest. Maybe what happened with Sophia, something can happen like that because Sam's family can have a say about that. We don't know yet, but we have to see some old anime can come. We have to see for like you said, but yeah, endless possibility. We will never know unless the book releases, and I'm excited for this book as much as you are.
Yeah, absolutely. I cannot wait. And one thing I was curious about, with all these character spots returning, could we potentially see a return of Zofia? And I kept thinking to myself, how would that play out?
Yeah,
You've just got over this scrutiny. One of you's well, you both kind of lost. Well, apart from Sam, who's won in her own way. She's won in a more moral way that's going to affect her life better. So in a way, it's affected her company a lot better. In terms of job, I think because I think earlier in the book, Sam did say that she almost handed her resume over to the Dalton Enterprises himself. So I believe we could potentially see the main character getting a job at Dalton Enterprises. She's uniquely qualified for it. It would make sense that she actually pursued her dream of, science, and one of the things that her partner has in common with her, they both love science.
yeah.
They both
Chemistry, I think, was our main character's subject, if I remember correctly.
a master degree in chemistry. Yeah, it was amazing. And but yeah, I think book 2 will not only for us it'll be feel good, but it will test in a way. It will test their relationship because, like you say, with this nanny coming in as competition, it will test them again, and this will be a more bigger test to see if they really love each other, to see if will one of them slip up. They both meant for each other. Sam's not had a history of her doing this. The main character, I dread to think so. I would hope they don't, have any affairs or anything. Um, and then yeah, this will be a real test, a real show of what they have, and to see if it's real and see if it's able to be maintained.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you there. Exactly. And on that note, yeah, how can play out and what could happen possibly, and we'll have to see if this book, the series ends at book 2, or are they going to go for another book 3, and then what could they have possibly in store for us? So, like I said, it's endless possibility, and we will never know unless the book releases, and I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, like you say, will this end on series 2? Personally, I could potentially see a third book, but that would have to be the end. It's granted going on a book series, but I think a trilogy is the best thing to do. Going further than a trilogy just warrants, you know, downfall. Kind of like the Fast and Furious series. That's definitely fallen off a slope. It grew up great until up about 7, 8, and then with the ninth movie, I mean, even the actor said he doesn't enjoy the series anymore. It's fallen off. So it's they've got to be careful. They want to fill in this story. They want to of time with these characters to see them end off, but they need to find the perfect balance between time with the characters to then end it off perfectly, just to see them living the perfect life. They'll have to be careful. But with PB's recent chapters, I think I've even seen people saying that their chapters have been getting better. I even said at one point, I personally think PB has hit a rough patch in the last few weeks. A lot of people saying they're not through the books. The Foreign Affairs series being a little, and ending off on a bit of a deep cliffhanger. Well, not cliffhanger, sorry. Bit of an imbalance. Not getting much time with the partner. Um,
Yeah,
but we've still got the potential of Laws of Attraction and Slow Burn, which so far I have to say has shown potential, especially Laws of Attraction.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so I
It's going
believe Pixelberry is picking themselves back up from this rough patch, and they're gonna come back strong.
to. Yeah, I agree with you on that front. Yeah, let's hope that they do bounce back, and they do make quality books like people were expecting and waiting for. Um, so, apart from the Nanny Affairs, you also like some new books called Laws of Attraction, Slow Burn, and then Witness, and then A Very Scandalous Proposal, right?
Yeah, I do.
Any other
I do.
books?
It lives as well. That's one of my most recent ones besides Laws of Attraction and Slow Burn. That one completely hooked me. I absolutely love that story. It just filled me with such excitement and such thrill, as opposed to a couple other books.
Yeah. So, first, let's talk about laws of attraction since we're talking about it. How are you liking it so far? So far, I mean, in law and everything. How do you think the book is?
Where we're at now with chapter three, I'm really loving the book. I was so eager for this book. I was with my friends on Twitter. We were all hyped. We saw these characters being brought out, the story. I was filled with so much hype. I honest to God, I'm pretty sure I stayed up late hoping it would come out at midnight just so I could play the chapter. But seems PB like their set times. So the first chapter came out. I'll admit I wasn't hooked. I felt it was a bit stale. I didn't find the lore as interesting as I do now. It just felt a bit well, like I said, stale. But it was the first chapter. It was an opening. They had to give it a lot of interesting, more facts into the depth of the story, what it's about, so lore, and it was still good. But then I thought, it's just the first chapter. The book still has potential, and I'm really eager to see it. Next thing I know, I'm reading chapter two. I'm much more into it. We see. I don't know. Have you actually read Laws of Attraction?
Yeah, I'm almost yeah, I've completed the chapter three too. Yeah, chapter three.
Ah, very nice. Just want to make sure I don't make any spoilers for you. Um, yeah, so like we're in
Yeah,
chapter two, we're getting more into it. We find out we're actually getting to the competition, with the other law firms. And personally, I like everybody apart from Martin. Martin, I absolutely do not like. Bo, I found him quite annoying, quite rather rogue, a bit cocky, but as we go into chapter three, I start to respect him more, understand him. I guess it goes with the saying, "Don't judge a book by its cover." I mean, it's not like Bo was incredibly hard to deal with. He just got a little annoying at times, but that's how some people are. They didn't get to know him, and he turns out to be a pretty decent guy. He's got brains as well. He's rather bold as well, which is a good characteristic. But Martin, I just do not see it. He's this high prince guy coming out of the top schools, top firm, thinking he's above everybody else. And it's like one thing that really got to me was when he tried to make the move in the bar. I was like, you don't belong here. But it's like when you think back to
yeah,
the second chapter, you delve more into the story of the witness, one of them actually being a bad choice, Mr. Artiquette, because they actually found out that he was a potential for an illegitimate some illegitimate person, someone trying to get money out of a settlement agreement, which was a red flag, a massive red flag, and he was just like, and then I just remember Martin saying, "Oh, he's so honest, so charitable," and it's like, one thing's about being a lawyer is you need to read people. Aslin, Gigi, and the main character all read him, and they knew something was up. Mainly Aslin, which was a really good play, and it just proves that Martin, you're not the clearly not the best. You have your own flaws. You can't read people. All you do is he even mocked Gigi because of her skill of reading. All I've seen him do so far is be jealous. He thinks he's better than everybody else, but he's clearly jealous. Main character and Aslin have their skills of reading people. Gigi has an absolute amazing research history and depth of speed, and then Bo is just he's the kind of lively bunch. He's got his brains, but he kind of keeps the group alive. And then it's just mine. It's just this cold breath. Reminds me of Zofia in a way. Just this cold breath. And it's just, so far, all I've seen him do is fall over himself, get jealous. And he's one of those guys who I just see hides behind his ego. And it's like, if you want to be a decent lawyer, you need to, use your brains. Yeah, you've
yeah,
had some past cases that are strong, but it's like, if you can't adapt and work your way up just from winning a couple cases, the past is the past. But one thing I've even said is the past doesn't define who you are. It just gives you the starting point for who you're going to be. I mean, yeah, you've had your past. You've been an exceptional lawyer, and you've shaped up this future to be a future strong lawyer. But you can't think like the past. Times will change. You have to adapt. You need to learn to read people, and that's something that they did magnificently. In the second chapter, getting close to Aslin and Gabe. that was pretty strong as well. Able to save them, talk to them both in those diamond scenes. One thing I love about Aslan as well is she's this strong character. She's shy, but she's strong. She doubts herself when she shouldn't. She she definitely undersells herself a lot, and I
Yeah.
think she has truly a lot of potential.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
amazing. She's like I guess you could say a little guardian angel, and the way she bonds with the main character is really sweet.
Yeah.
He's this cute but strong initiative lawyer, and he's just so for it. He likes
Yeah.
her, and then one thing that I hated was the end we got on chapter 2 with the emergency meeting from Sadie. We're on this cliffhanger. It's like, what's going on? What's happening? If there's one thing I hate, it's cliffhangers mid book. That is one thing I hate. We're in this such a dramatic moment, and it just cuts off abruptly, and we have to wait until we get the next time. It infuriates me. And then we get to chapter 3. We found that they were able to pull some dirty tricks to win. It just proves my other theory of people doing what it takes necessary to win, especially when it comes to law. With
Yeah.
lawyers, and it was kind of a heartbreak at the start as well. They felt they failed. They weren't able to help those people. 'Cause I actually chose the young kid Elijah. Because he wasn't just a kid. Because they do say kids can affect a case. With the fact that
Mhm.
they're young, they don't know much, but. He was a smart kid. He knew what he was doing. I mean, hell, he even managed to outsmart Bo in terms of knowing the difference between clicks and feet.
Mhm.
Um, and one thing the jury would see is they would melt to see a kid, but I think they would also have melted to see the kid who had so much. He even has potential. He knows about science, and he's what 8, 9 year old, and he already knows a lot about science. You
Yeah.
know, but the fact that I think if there wasn't for that Mister Aquatique guy, he would have had, and they took it to trial, I think they would have had it. And then as it advances later on, you're in this next case with I can't remember what she was, Willow Harrington. She was a life coach or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, life coach, and she had
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
interesting views on the world. And I obviously didn't like her right off the bat. I mean,
Yeah.
I even liked the main characters. Venom. He was like, "Let me dispose her," and I was like, "Yes." He wants to take down. He's truly one of the good guys, or she. He
Not
wants
for
to
that.
he wants
Yeah.
to do well. Exactly. Yeah, he wants to do right by people. That's why he did his job. He's not afraid to take losses. He's not afraid to take risks. He will do what it takes to make sure the right people get real justice. And it was absolutely amazing. You delve into the chapter itself. You learn about Willow. And you learn about the interviewee. The Eva Pereira. It's like the fact that they right off the bat they think the case shouldn't even be void because of the
The
medical
man.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it was, then they had to dig deeper. They had to go meet, with Willow Harrington, and the fact that I personally think, because later on they even thought it could be a publicity stunt. I personally think it was. She's this thing about the body's healing system, but it's like you
Yeah.
talk about the body's healing system, but how much of the body do you really know about? You're not a scientist. You don't have a medical degree. How much of
Exactly.
the body do you really know about? How can you really judge vaccines and
Mhm.
and antiviruses
Yeah.
affecting the human body when you
Exactly.
rarely even know anything about it?
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I can understand you want to do fitness, you want to do right, you want to do right by your daughter, and then the fact that she had the gall to say that it would have affected her daughter and that it was taken advantage of, and it's like you look at the facts. What gain has Eva got from vaccinating your child against your wishes? She's put a career on the line, reputation, put the scandal possibility. Why would she risk all that to take
Exactly.
advantage of a child's health?
Exactly. I mean,
These are
nonsense.
nonsense
Yeah.
things.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, and then later on you've got all the evidence and you're able to go against her. You get more information because even though again Willow slipped up because she was so careless about the way she treated her employees as well. She slipped up. You were able to get the upper hand, forced to take a plea deal, which worked out. And lastly, I think the main character was extremely happy about taking down Lena. I mean, I'm pretty sure he fell for her as well, right at the first sight. Uh, and she was even onto him as well. She really liked him. Although she did kind of mock him a bit when it came to the plea deal, but he quickly shut her mouth, which was very satisfying. If there's one thing you love, it's people thinking they have the upper hand, who underestimate you, and then you just come back and hit them twice as hard
Yeah. Yeah.
and just shut them down.
Yeah.
It shows
Take it.
leadership.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I absolutely love it. And then you go out and celebrate. You've won your first more or less major case.
Yeah.
Uh, everybody, well, the right people win. You go out and celebrate. Feel better about yourself. You get closer to your characters, and then of course you run into the you run into Lena, and then you end up celebrating a bit more intimately. They finally spice things up, because one thing books do as well is one thing I've noticed is in the Nanny Affair and in a very scandalous proposal, the intimate scenes are a lot longer on, indicating a way longer story, which is good and all, but we like some spicy scenes in, and the fact that they put that in so early on with a side character, and one thing that got me as well was the kind of the headline they use, get close to characters, even if it's just for a one night stand. That kind of got me thinking. I hope that we don't see the last of Lena Reyes as well. She's a really interesting character. She's got spice. She's got determination. She's good at her job. She's very, very good at a job. Maybe not the best, but everybody has their flaws. Just able to end off on a spicy note. And then, we're ended with another text cliffhanger with, the fact that they're going to spice the competition up in chapter 3, which we will see this Wednesday, which I cannot wait for. So overall, after chapter 1 into chapter 2 and 3, I've gotten really interested into the story, really interested into the law as well. Everyone watches Law and Order. I mean, I've watched my fair share of Law and Order. I'm interested by the way they do the cases, how lawyers, they present the information, they intimidate, they're able to crack liars and get the truth out. One thing I really respected, the fact that you can do this in the form of a book, interact with it a bit, and the different characteristics you get. So you can do. I think at the start you had pure law for going by the law, strategy, and then you had the anti-bully thing. Those characteristics. Those
Yeah.
were really good. The main character's a really good lawyer. He's able to use his emotion, but to not cloud his judgment. He's able to make the right choices, and his emotion has so far prevailed. So I'm really eager to see that, and I think this book has a lot of potential. Really interested, and I cannot wait to see where it goes.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, absolutely right. On the Lena thing, I think they said in this book you get to work hard and then play hard. So I think what we had in Queen Bee and in Perfect Match, I think we're gonna get this in this book to an extreme level. So Lena, I think yeah, you're right. We're gonna see the last of. We just saw the last of Lena, and we're not gonna see her because they said it's a one night stand, and yeah, we could possibly see her again as an opponent, but I don't think we're gonna get this kind of scene again. Or I mean, it's really so probably we're gonna see her or other characters like this, or we'll get more flings. So I don't know why they did this to this book, but it's possible because they have just two love interests. One is Ashlyn, the female love interest, and one is just the male love interest. So a lot of people said, well, I'm not satisfied with the female love interest, and they said, well, it's a sweet love interest. They have gone with this quite a few times before also. I don't know if you have played the Save the Dead book, but in that book they went with I don't remember her name at the moment. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she was like this Ashlyn too. I mean, she was nervous, but our main character helped her and stuff. So would they have gone with that? So I think and this is the book where we're gonna focus more on case because it's just not a love book. So like Veil of Secrets, if you've played that, the love interests they were there, but the case was more important, the plot. So this is a plot-driven book where the love interests are important, but we're also going to see lots of fling to get us hooked up because a lot of people play for love interests and they don't have like a prominent love interest in this book. They just do, and then they're just adding some flings to make the story more interesting because when you have horror books or plot book like law book, crime book, then you definitely focus on the law, on the crime, but you get those flings, those moments to some to let loose. And also you just can't start hooking up or have an intimate scene with your boss or with Ashlyn from the very first moment. So I think they're just filling those gaps, now with the flings, and they're going to add more. We're going to have to see. So this is going to be a really interesting book, and I got to stock up on diamonds for that. And also, if I remember the trailer correctly, I think they said that this book is going to be about a dark secret we're going to uncover when someone gets killed, like a Hollywood star or someone like a really famous person. So I think so far we're just covering cases. So far we covered two cases. Those were like normal cases almost. But now I think we are out of the small pond, and we're gonna go into the we're gonna play with the big boys. So we're gonna go into the high grass. We're gonna. So this is the case because Gabe messages us. I don't know. It was a midnight or something. We're hooking up with Lena, and then Gabe calls, messages us like, "Come on, text us. Come on, come in. We have a big case." So we have fought so far two big cases. So what could be bigger than these? So definitely, I think this is the start. You're right about this foreign affairs book. They had a lot of complaints like, well, there weren't lots of cliffhangers, lots of chapters seemed dud. But I would say, I don't know if it's just because of me, because yeah, there's lots of laws. Sometimes laws are interesting, but like with foreign affairs, it just clicked it from book one. But it is taking some time. But I think I'm just waiting for that moment where we see this big crime case, the main case that is going to be the plot of the book. And I think we're going to pick that up from the next chapter, and this is going to be interesting, and all the flings coming in, and then Gabe and Ashlyn, and how this is going to play out. It's going to be super fun. And also, one thing I would like to mention is that, yeah, Bo. I at first when I saw Bo, he said, "Hey, if you join my team," and Bo also is the nephew of Sadie. So I thought maybe Bo is going to be sort of the he's going to be the antagonist, and he's going to be he's going to be antagonized by Pixelberry in this book, and maybe he's going to be, but he's not arrogant that much. Yeah, he's just, I think, a light-headed person, like, oh yeah, jokes a lot. So I don't think he can get riskier, but we'll see what can happen. But yeah, Martin is a real risk too. Like he's like a jerk. And Gigi is a fun person, Aston, of course, her love interest. So there's only Martin, and we'll have to keep an eye out for Bo still, because Bo's nephew. So, and he also said you can join my team. But yeah, Bo seems a nice person, and you can, and through your choices, you can increase your score to your fellow competitors. So that is super awesome. I think it started from chapter 3, sorry. So it's gonna be super fun. Let's hope. And also the relationship with Gabe, they're pushing for like your boss is there, and you can't, both of you have some feelings for you, and so how they're gonna work to develop that feeling, because this is again a forbidden romance. Because if Martin finds out, God forbid, that Gabe is falling for us, then he would say, oh look, this is cheating because Gabe likes the MC
Yeah.
seduced Gabe to win the spot. So this kind of situation can occur potentially. So we'll have to take in, there are lots of possibilities again.
Mm, definitely. Yeah. Martin, again, seems like the type who will do what he wants to get what he wants. To win. And yeah, that
Yeah,
is
I
definitely
hope.
something to watch out for.
Yeah. um so you're gonna play this book, you're playing it on a weekly basis, right?
Yep. Every Wednesday.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm really liking this book. I have high hopes, and let's see what happens in this book in
Yeah.
future.
Yeah. One thing as well I wanted to say is, like you said, so there was like the similarity of hooking up with side characters, which was in Queen Bee and another book. I was trying to think about when did Queen Bee come out roughly? Do you know?
I think like last year.
Last year, yeah. So
Yeah,
I
it was
think it
around June or something. Yeah.
Okay, June, that's fair enough. I'm just thinking that, maybe they're trying to do a step back. Maybe they're trying to bring in some interesting aspects from popular books, i.e., what happened in Queen Bee, to Laws of Attraction, which I think will be a good move as well. See some old habits come back for an interesting new book in a complete different genre.
Yeah, that would be fun. That would be fun. So, you're also playing Slow Burn, right?
I am, yes.
How's it going?
Really interesting, actually. I did not expect Yvette to be as stubborn and hard-headed as originally thought. I thought she was this determined chef who was, she also has this passion, this lust, but she's really hard-headed, but in a good way. She also she I have to respect her as well because she cares about the food. She cares about her work. She doesn't care about the TV or the camera. She cares about the passion of the food, and she looks for someone like the main character who has a passion for the food. So someone who is deep into what she likes, and it's been really interesting so far to see how he's gone up in the world. He's been traveling everywhere. New Orleans, Santorini, I think it's called, Tokyo. He's been going all over doing these amazing things in like for food, which is amazing because one thing about food is you have to explore because so much different food comes from so many different cultures, and it's I find it really interesting. I also like the foods they always put up at the end of a few chapters. The recipe books. It's really interesting. Some of the food is interesting as well. I might even like to try it as well. It's just so interesting. I don't think I've seen a book be this interesting and make me interested about these exquisite various amounts of food from
Cuisines.
various
Yeah,
different countries.
yeah, yeah. That's
Absolutely
good.
amazing.
Yeah. Um, yeah, they said like they dug up all those recipes from internet from here and there, so they're perfect. Even you can try those. They shared one of the recipes in one of the insiders, and they said you can cook up this thing, and the ingredients were mentioned, the way of cooking was mentioned. So yeah, they're definitely adding an extra touch to this book. This is not just a interactive game, but it's also you can just cook something up from these books in real life.
Yeah, absolutely. I may have to try out cooking as well because one thing is I when I was looking into careers as well, is there was all these there's all these different careers and something else to do. Two careers I've definitely had in mind is musician. I absolutely love the guitar. I just love the energy of rock music as well as of various of other musics. And then there's also food. Food, something that we need, but also can be respected and can be viewed from a completely different standpoint, especially when going around the world. The different
Mm.
varies of food, how it's made, just it's really amazing. Honestly, I'm so enjoying this book. I'm really enjoying. I don't. One thing I guess you could say is a good thing, but kind of a bad thing. Is the double love interest. I love both of them. I love Yvette. She's hard headed, but she's so passionate about food. But she's also kind of she seems a bit troubled as well. One thing we've seen her open up a bit. She had a past with her in one of the most recent chapters was an ex fiance, I believe it was. But that kind of ended a little sour, and then she's had this rivalry with is it Antonio? Antoine? I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, and she's had these hard obstacles in her way, and she's built her walls up, but along with the main character, I think she's going to be able to delve them down and become the passionate person about food and the passionate person overall. And then of course we've
Mhm.
got Julia. She's more than just a manager. She's really really kind. She's got a warm feeling about her. There's just something about her. She's very caring. She's very open. To the fact of the main character's moves, but she just seems she stands out like Yvette, and it's like it's how are people going to be able to choose between Yvette and Julia? I mean, I think people are erring more towards Yvette, which I can understand, but I'm stuck between the two of them for now. It's just the story is so amazing so far, but like I said, like LOA, I hope we don't see another FA repeat. I hope both these books prosper.
Yeah, I also hope so too. Like this ends on a good note, and this is fruitful. Specifically, laws of attraction, because VIP books, they're sort of, they balance at the end, and they have, because that's why they're VIP also, I guess. But I really hope that laws of attraction lives up to the expectations and hopes, because it has a lot of expectations with it, and I hope it just becomes successful, and it becomes one heck of a book like Veil of Secrets.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. I just hope to see these books prosper. I mean, like I said, PB are coming back from the rough patch. We've had both these books. We had Foreign Affairs finish abruptly. Then we saw the entrance of Slow Burn and now LOA, which have both shown initiative so far, and they've both shown promising results. The depth of the stories. Both again seem actually no. LOA is plot driven, like you said. I think Slow Burn. I think that's they found a very fair neutral ground between the plot and the love, especially with Yvette, because it's the same thing. I mean, it's not like a lawyer's job, with the fact, because I was thinking, what if you were able to hook up with Lena? How is that going to work? Because one thing about being lawyers is what if you're against each other? You're in a hard case. You're gonna do whatever it takes to take you down, and you think you're taking your partner down. I know it's part of your job, but this is the person you love. You're fighting to try and take them down and make them feel bad and just do justice right. And that was one possibility that I always thought of in LOA. But in Slow Burn, they work together. It's more of a peaceful job for them. They work together. They both enjoy food. It's something they can do together. It's something they can live their lives in peacefully and, you know, coexistently. So I personally think this is more of a 50-50 book in terms of plot and love. It binds well together.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, it's like you said with cuisines, like different cuisines. So laws of attraction and uh, slow burn. They're two different cuisines, let's so to speak. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, slow burn is a bit more enjoyable. But laws of attraction is, yeah. But we'll see. When the things get more dense, the things get more interesting in laws of attraction. Something tells me this is going to be worth it. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that.
Without a doubt, yeah, I'm so excited. Like one thing I've loved as well, besides the exquisite food and very attractive allies in Slow Burn, I just love the scenery and the fact that
Yeah,
like
the
people
mountains.
think I
Yeah,
would think people's opinions on food and being a chef is not much, but the fact that if you're really deep into going chefs, it leads to other opportunities, i.e., traveling around the world, experiencing different foods, and working to create all sorts. Main character's gone to New Orleans, Santorini, Tokyo. Where next? You know,
yeah.
uh,
Sky's the limit.
yeah, the sky's the limit. Definitely, they could go to Russia, the UK, um, France, Spain.
Yeah, yeah.
You
France
know,
is. Yeah,
all over. And some of those countries are highly known for their food as well. So it'll be an absolutely amazing experience for a chef,
yeah.
really.
Yeah, I mean, every single country. I would be doing injustice if country, but every single state, every single place have their, has their own, exquisite cuisine, exquisite different ways of cooking, different foods that no other place in the whole world has. So yeah, it's different when you travel there. You get to know them. So I would say Pixelberry is upping game. Pixelberry is going somewhere. They're really, I mean, going to undiscovered territories this time, and so far they seem to be successful with this.
Yeah, exactly. They're eyeing down on some key factors like they're not just looking at simple things such as cooking, law. They're not just looking at them from the basic standpoint. They're diving in to the actual the deep background and lore behind everything about it. Which is can be similar to movies, but you find them more in books. Dive more into the background, the lore, the history, etc. Like I said, sky's the limit. With a topic like food and other topics that can dive in with so much history, backstory, and just how much impact it has. Pixelberry are definitely looking at a good standpoint here, which is again what I was talking about, the bounce back. They're opening and they're developing way more better, which I think is going to be really good.
Yeah, I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. And let's hope they keep this in for the coming books too, because they're gonna release Crimes of Passion and the Zombie book, and I hope they're gonna be super awesome.
Yeah, I'm really anxious for the new books coming out. It's just going to be so great. And we've also got the continuing series, Open Heart and Baby Bump,
Yeah,
which I actually haven't read yet. I actually feel bad, I've missed a lot of Open Heart, and I've been seeing glimpses of it, interesting. So I will need to get into it. But like I
yeah,
say, I've got these continuing big books, and it's like it just makes me wonder what's gonna happen when they finally end off these books. How are we gonna go into the newer series as and standpoints?
yeah,
Honest to
exactly.
God,
I mean, yeah,
some possibilities. It's gonna be, yeah, I think it's gonna be a bright future for Pixelberry if they keep playing their cards right.
yeah. I mean, they're really big books. It's like Royal Air, Royal Romance. Like huge books.
Definitely. It's
Really
like,
long.
and it's not
Yeah,
just the actual cards as well. It's not just the topic as well. They go into the actual stories and of the lives of the characters. Through hardships, through heartbreak, etc. See them bounce back, but maybe see them different. To help them become the person they once were. It's like it's more like this. The main character does them a favor. It's reminds me of the Shrek, the Shrek series from the Forever After. In the last scene, is like the story revolves around him rescuing Fiona and building a life. But then in the final moment, he thinks back to everything after he's back. It was in a way you rescued me too, because if he didn't rescue Fiona, he'd just be walking around a swamp, no friends, no family, nothing. So in a way, they help each other, and that's one thing I see in Pixelberry. The characters help each other. Two halves make a whole.
yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah. The mutual helping, the mutual understanding. That's the big thing.
Definitely.
Yeah. Let's hope they implement this still here. Yeah, it's super awesome. You also played It Lives, right? So what is your input on output on that?
It Lives, yes. One of my most recent ones, and it was absolutely amazing. I actually watched Martian Cat, who I also saw her podcast as well. I was actually watched her play it. I saw a bit of it, and she told me what story she was playing. She was actually the first person I watched streaming this, and honest to God, it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
amazing.
Martian Cat. Yeah,
It's such an amazing, her and her community they were so welcoming, and it's like one thing I always feared was stepping out, because I got to the point where I was like, I enjoy these books, I wouldn't mind someone talk to who also reads them. It's like getting to the fact of meeting people who had the same passion as I do. I was very nervous, but I reached out. I've met so many amazing people. Honest to God, it's been amazing. They've been so supportive, so helpful. We're able to talk about choices. We're able to have fun. It's been so just heartwarming, and then to have them give feedback as well. It's just been amazing. You can have these people to reflect on. Like I won't lie, I've been involved in some toxic communities uh, through gaming and in personal life. So it's nice to come to a community and be a part of something where I won't get judged, I won't get mocked. I'll just be able to be my real self with all these amazing people who are also themselves, and just build real friendships, and just enjoy it. And then yeah, it's just been amazing so far. And then I also met Tasha Monet. She did a big stream of Wolf Bride. That was amazing. Even Pixelberry themselves showed up to her stream. It was amazing. We were
yeah,
able to
yeah. I
interact
did
with
the
them.
same thing with Martian Cat too. Yeah,
Yeah, Martian Cat as well. They were, to be honest as well, they actually interact well with the community in the streams as well. They're able to, they uh, they really uplift it as well. And it kind of hurts to see the kind of hate like I received. I saw when Martian Cat posted that she's going to be reading It Lives Beneath, and then there was the hate about, yeah, you're supporting this player, but let's talk about stories, and it's like, well, yeah, but it's their choice. They're trying to build up from rough patch. They're just the fact that they're supporting and helping these streamers promote their own game. It proves that they're trying to build themselves back. They're showing their own indefinite support for their own game and for those people in the communities. And the communities are just so uplifting in the streams. It blocks out all the toxic hate, and you can actually enjoy it. And then it's just been so heartwarming to see those two streamers and the entire community. It's been absolutely amazing. And then actually delving into the story of It Lives, I have to say it's the most thrilled story I have played so far. I absolutely loved it. The introduction was really freaky as well. We wake up in the middle of the night. You've got the text from Dan. You then got him climbing your window, and then next thing you
Ooh,
know, he's melting. He's this golem.
yeah,
It's so
girl.
fun. The animation was really well done, and the art was
Yeah, I
immensely
close
impressive.
my eyes at the moment.
Yeah, I'll admit I'm not easily freaked out by stuff like that or anything, but that kind of got me. Like I've seen a lot of stuff, but like not stuff like that. Completely different. But it was so refreshing as well as freaky, and it left me with a good laugh and a good scare. But that first chapter was absolutely an amazing opening for that book. It delved in. It was really good. And then we got to the actual school life. We learned that our main character's pretty distant with everyone. And again, the music. I absolutely love the music. I can't remember what song it's called, but it was just the calm song. I think it was at the start. I can't remember what it's called, but it was just so refreshing. Just this calm, soothing music to
Oh,
help with
oh,
people
yeah,
calm.
like it would go, something like that, right? Like it would
Yeah.
play after, like,
Dun, dun,
you just,
dun, dun. That one, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And
and you have just,
mhm.
face dangers, and you're now out of it, and you're just relaxing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's my favorite too.
Very relaxing, yeah. And then we kind of got to know the characters, which you could tell by the emojis they had to show their status. So we learned about the different characters, and I admit it was really interesting to see the variety. We started off with Ava, who was this kind of supernatural,
Spooky. Yeah.
spooky lady, and she was really fascinated me actually. She was absolutely amazing.
Who did you
She's
date?
I dated the ally I chose actually was Stacy. Um,
Yeah, me
I'll
too.
admit,
Yeah.
yeah, that I will admit it started off rough. I didn't like her at the start, really. I mean, well, I said at the start when I actually started talking to her. I saw her on the first stage. We sort of fall over, went to support her, be kind to her, and but then later on, we see her hanging around with the
The
brats,
bullies.
the
Yeah.
bullies, Brittany, Jocelyn, and Cody. And it's like we see her being this bad person, and especially toward one of the other characters, Lily, who is this kind, caring girl. She's
Yeah.
very smart and very sweet. She cares a lot. She's
Yeah.
really smart.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it's just you go on there. One time you're going up there, you stand up for yourself, and then Stacey just gets involved, dragging you out. And it's at that
Mhm.
point I just start bringing up a bunch of things about Stacey. Look at you're standing up against one of your old friends, being so rude to them when just to fit in with a bunch of cool kids. But
Yeah.
then but then I start to feel as she opens up about what happens, I understand what she's going through. She told me. We see the backstory of everything, and I honest to God, regretted my instant decision to hit her. I uh, I sympathize with her. It just to feel so betrayed because Brittany was supposedly a friend, and
Yeah.
instead turned to a backstabbing git. It just felt so hurtful. And it's like it was at that point I was just like, if I was there, I'd just be like, there has to be something you can do. There has to be something I can do. I could help. And then later on we get that choice. But it's just
Yeah.
I guess
Exactly.
again goes back to the feature of don't judge a book by its cover. You never know things about people. They usually put on this facade, never really be themselves, which again pointed out. We met Noah, who was this
Yeah.
rather this kind of strange kid who was always on his own, but he was living with
On the
grief.
money. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but he was living with grief, which is again affects people differently, and it
Yeah.
affected Noah pretty
Exactly.
strong.
Yeah.
With the passing of his sister,
Jen.
it
Yeah.
affected all of them
Yeah.
roughly, but I think he was affected the most. He had those outbursts with his mother. It was very
Yeah.
hurtful
Yeah.
to him. It was rough in general.
Mm. Yeah. I
And
mean,
then we
that
have
was. Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. No. No. Go on.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Then we have Lucas, who is
Mhm.
this focused but still charitable, helpful young man. He's smart. He's resilient. He's strong. He
Yeah.
wants to help people. He wants to do good. He wants to prosper. But of course, things kind of delve down. He makes rough decisions, especially with the fact that you learn about his backstory with his parents.
Mm-hmm.
How he's one of those
That's
kids
good.
who has the parents who they're they come from high aspects. They
Yeah.
expect strong
Mhm.
results, expect strong
Yeah.
examples,
The pressure.
and
Yeah.
yeah, the pressure can be so overwhelming. And you learn that with the fact that he's taking those pills. It just shows how
Yeah. The
much
focus there. Yeah.
wanting wanting to earn his parents' respect can damage him as well.
Mhm.
And then we have Lily, who is this young, fragile but also strong girl.
Yeah. Hopeful.
She's
Yeah.
yeah, it's very hopeful. She wants to see that she only sees the best in people, wants to see the best in people. Like she
Yeah.
has angry outbursts, but she can never really. I don't think she can ever really truly show hate. Like she's just
Yeah.
too kind for that.
Yeah.
And she's really smart. She's a computer tech IT specialist, something like that, working on a game. She has high career prospects. Takes a lot of brains to run computers and coding.
Mhm.
But
Definitely does.
coding is definitely an absolute nightmare. I'm barely even getting through it myself.
Yeah.
Um,
I was learning Python and it's still learning it and it's so hard.
I've gone from Python to C# to God knows what else. But yeah, think that's all the characters. No, oh no, almost forgot Andy. Almost forgot King Kang. We've got.
Yeah. King Kang. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember. I remember. I was looking at one of Kat's. I was on Kat's post when she was reading it, and I just, all I could say was King Kang, King Kang. It's just, we've got Andy, this resilient, strong young man. He wants to follow a
Yeah.
dream. He's
That's the
extremely
purpose.
loyal to his friends.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's loyal, he's unnerving, and he won't let anything get in his way. He's determined, and he's, honest to God, one of the most aspiring characters they have as part of that group. Then I think that's all of them, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty much. Yeah.
Yep, all of them. So yeah, and then
No, there was
oh
another one, Connor or someone. Remember
ah,
Stacy's brother?
that's it. Connor, sister brother, who is not necessarily part of the group, but he's still plays a big role, a big part. He's still one of the
Yeah.
love interests. He's
Yeah.
Stacey's brother. He's kept in the dark, but he's got this passion about him that just is uplifting when he's there, like just the kind of guardian angel the main character wants, and it's rather again uplifting for not just him but everyone else. And then the story finally progresses. We learn we learn that there's this mysterious character slash monster, Redfield, which I
Yeah.
have to say the design for his character was amazing. It was really freaky, and it was. I remember I was watching Martian Cat stream as well. Again, the
Yeah.
voice impression she did for him was absolutely amazing. It actually matched. It was like a ghastly voice, like a ghost. Honestly, God, she did an amazing impression on that.
Yeah.
And
I was nearly like, okay, I'm about to stop this because it freaks me out, man.
yeah, no, with the freak tension of the scenes, and then her added voices just made it so much more better. But yeah, it's just this character, but the backstory was really interesting as well. I can understand, but at the end it was just the in the end it's just a regular cycle that and I personally think I think it could have been different. Like the ending was well whatever you chose it to be, but I think one of the endings could have been interesting where maybe they had something to break the cycle and everyone lives like just absolutely everybody. But
Yeah, that could have been done. That would have been super awesome.
that would have been interesting. But yeah, we dive in, we understand, we get more into the childhoods, we learn about this mysterious character. It's this mysterious house in the middle of nowhere. The ruins,
Hmm.
and there's this character who's just stuck in this trapped house. Is basically a prison, just of darkness that all he can do is just stay in and barely peek out.
Yeah.
And we dive further into it. We learn more about it. We see the characters, like some of them are reluctant, want to forget it, just play it
Hmm.
off. And then they got some of them, the main character and a couple others. I think it was Andy, Ava, Noah,
Yeah.
and the main character who went to the ruins first. Um, while the rest kind of passed it off. They went in, they learnt more. They came toe to toe with the first wave of skeleton monsters looking for Dan, which were interesting creatures. I have to admit, again with the design of the character with the
Yeah.
monsters was really interesting. Uh, for a kind of skeleton dog with I did like the green, the bush, the vines and everything. Added a nice touch for the forest theme that they had going there.
Hmm. That was
And then
spot on. Yeah.
mm, and then we had the meet with Dan. We
Yeah. Then.
hear those
Yeah.
we hear those words that he gasped out just before he passes out, and next thing you know, he's just stuck in a coma. It
Hmm.
just makes no sense. We know that
Yeah.
uh, he'd been having a really rough time, and that he'd been getting better, but he confronted his feet. He wanted to confront his fears, and in turn opened a string of evil again. He wanted to find out if it was real, and to his surprise, it was, and it had a lasting effect on him, which was pretty damaging, but also interesting. And then we
Yeah.
dive further into a bit more of the character's backstory. One thing I liked as well is it was again naturally balanced. We had the plot, but we also had the school life, the parties. To kind of balance it out. Because you can't just be laser focused on things like this. You got to have an outlet to try and breathe, or else it's going to become too much, and you can't do it. You know,
Yeah.
we had
Exactly. Perfect balance. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. We worked our way up. We gained standings with all the characters. We had a lot of run-ins with the bullies again. Cody
Cody.
came
Yeah.
in.
I couldn't stand that guy.
I absolutely can't stand him. I can.
And Jocelyn.
Jocelyn, I understand. Yeah, well, she was pretty rough, yeah, but I'm glad she kind of cheered up in the end. She kind of
Yeah,
became a better
sure, but
person.
yeah, at the beginning, I'm talking about, at the
Yeah,
start, she was like, I
yeah,
couldn't stand these two, and in Brittany, I mean, I couldn't stand her either, but still, I felt like Lily and Brittany, they had something in future, in the past, but Cody, absolutely, Cody was like, he had a very punchable face, and Jocelyn also, I mean,
definitely.
really unbearable.
Absolutely, yeah. I think in return, with Cody being gone, that opened up the way for Jocelyn and Brittany to become better people. It feels like he was the anchor holding them back, and with him gone, as the story developed,
Yeah.
they were able to become better people. They were able to adapt better with their friends and become, the people, just better people in general, which I
Hmm.
think is
Yeah.
is really
I
strong.
agree with you. Agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, and then one thing I love was just the constant mystery, trying to figure out what was Redfield, who was
Yeah.
Redfield, and then
Yeah.
we dive back into the story of when they were kids. We had Jane. I remember this. I think it was the second, one of the times they agreed to go in the house. Yeah, when they agreed to go in the house, Jane was actually mad with main character because he gave her a whistle
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
then came back. But because he said he was able to protect her, he would come protect her as a best friend. But then she felt betrayed because of an event that happened, and that whistle was just disappeared. And the next thing you know, boom, it appears. and it's like all this all this past, the past that came back to haunt them. It's like trying to think of like an old saying I used to heard something about everyone's past catches up with them eventually. I mean, they have to face it. Your past will haunt you, and you will eventually have to face it. And that was the kind of story film that got it. And then we learnt more about the actual story. One thing that I was really interested about was the letters that you found from the bird that you actually he always had these random letters. I didn't understand them much at first. They kind of felt a bit off to me. I didn't really understand them at the top until I delved in more to the story of the history. I kind of understood it. There was Morbius, who I believe was someone involved in the past cycle of Redfield's creature, coming and doing this to everybody. We dive in. They all go in the house. They play. Oh, I've literally just forgotten the game. Uh, the I'm Not Scared game. Is that it?
Yeah, I'm not scared or something. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I,
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I scared he would ask the question.
Yeah. And then it got comforting. He's like, are you scared? But the fact that I think the fact that he was a heart and light and monster kind of cheated a bit for when they were kids. It was this intimidable, creepy monster, which kind of
Yeah,
added a bit of an unfair factor. But then, of course, the tragedy struck when they were all pinned, and next thing you know, he's trying to scare Jane, and just out of nowhere, snap, and within a blink of a second, she's gone. And
yeah,
it just with the abrupt ending, you see it happen. Kind of makes me wonder as well. One thing they didn't show, I don't think, was what was the actual aftermath when they were kids. What was happened when they got back when they reported Jane's death? What happened? How did it go? You know,
yeah.
but it still had
Would have
a
been
a good
horrible. Yeah,
deep feeling to it. And it
yeah,
was and
yeah.
then sorry, you go.
No, no, no. Yeah, I was saying exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, it's just a kind of rough time they were all in, and then they started to try and delve into the story once again, and then of course main character does what I can't tell still if it was the bravest thing or the dumbest thing to do was that going to confront Redfield herself or himself right off the bat. I can't remember. Was that after they killed Cody, or was it before that she went to confront Redfield for the first time? I think it was.
yeah,
I think it may have been after, but I'm not too sure. They went to confront Redfield. Just
yeah.
told him
I
the
think we
gifts,
went. Yeah,
and it didn't
we
end
went
in a good
twice or
way.
twice. Yeah,
Mm, I think you got attacked. She barely made out. The fact that he was like this ghost, but with this essence of fire that could burn her. And then oof, just ends up rough. She just tries,
yeah,
and then she has to barely gets away. She's got constant marks, friends constantly worrying about her, the outlet, and then, but then it kind of lightens up. The 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 Redfield gift before she does improves, the lives of the characters. Br- Br- Brittany. Brittany loses her blackmail against Stacy. Stacy gets her freedom back to do what she wants. Andy, who was refused on the team because of his heritage and who he was, that ended with the bear attacking Ben. Pretty
yeah,
unfortunate, but
yeah.
karma, karma, I guess does get you. And then everyone
And
else, Lucas,
yeah,
whose teacher got attacked because he was onto him about using the pills. That was rough, but again, and then of course the monster killing off Cody, which was
yeah. Because he went after main character. Yeah,
I can't tell. I can't tell if I feel bad saying this. I can't tell if he deserved something like that, but not necessarily death
yeah.
itself.
No, he deserved a punch in his face, but not that. Yeah,
He may have deserved something a bit more than a punch, but not necessarily death by tree.
yeah,
It's kind of
yeah,
a bit of a gruesome way to die as well. What was he thrown off a roof or just launched onto a tree? One or the other. It was rough, I mean, just thinking back to the party, he tried to get into it, with the "Are you scared" thing, with
yeah,
the getting in the face, getting right into you. And then just one thing that I did find supportive was all your friends. They came around to get rid of Cody, and get him away, help you. Just prove the loyalty kind of built back up. That they were deep friends. And
yeah,
one thing I definitely loved was the all the diamond scenes you could have with your different characters, spend time with
yeah,
them. I really enjoyed the one with Stacy and the main character. Getting used to know her, getting really close to her and intimate. She was just this fresh of life cheerleader who, in fact, did want to do more good than she suspected, but with her family life, it got complicated.
yeah,
Um, and then kind of delved off again. We kind of felt back off, went back to high school. Things things were they were a little different, but started getting a little worse for them. It time came they had to deal with Redfield. He was starting to come back a little angry. He might have been a little upset after the confrontation with the main character. Same could be said for the his friends, but that guy kind of delved off a bit. And then it just comes down to one and all. They have to deal with Redfield. They have to start delving into the lore of what's happened. They dig into the history that this has just been an endless cycle going on for 200 years, I believe it was.
yeah, yeah, 200.
And it's just you've got to just this endless cycle that can't seem to stop. You know, all revolving around a bit of a twisted game. And then you officially visit Cora Pritchard, the crazy witch everyone named her,
Yeah, yeah,
who
which,
who was, I believe, one of the original, well, one of the past group before them, who actually went through it. They had an agreement with Redfield to keep him dark whilst he was before Dan woke him up. Had the agreement to rest. They'd be given something, but of course someone got greedy, which I believe was Morbius Redfield, the actual guy who took over the form, and that's what kind of gave it. They learn about it and they try to stop it. But one thing they didn't account of is when dealing with this entity, in terms of getting rid of it, the ritual worked for Corin and friends, but not for the main character in his group. It had to be something from which it was triggered. Hence the game where Jane was killed. Are you scared? It
yeah,
was
yeah,
That's one thing I found really interesting was it wasn't you couldn't just do a simple past spell. It was tied to something that you and your group did. That
yeah,
that around really interesting. It was really deep. Um, you know, Redfield thought to be gone. Uh, then you go to Homecoming. The life of the party. I had my private dinner with Stacey, had some fun, and then we
yeah,
went to
yeah,
the
yeah,
party. It genuinely looked up, but of course I was skeptical with it being only chapter 12, I believe it was, give or take.
yeah,
Maybe a bit further on. It's just it can't be this easy, can it? And
yeah,
that's when we see Cora stumbling in, injured.
mhm,
She and that's when she, in her last words, tells you that it's not
died.
over.
Yeah,
She died in your arms, and next thing you know, onslaught, onslaught pandemic. Various creatures attacking from all sides, and I think it was the spiders as well. And that I did like that scene, and the fact that we did see as everyone was trying to flee, we saw Jocelyn bring herself
yeah,
back. Like I
yeah,
said, she
yeah,
she took some severe damage, but she eventually managed to pull herself back. Thank goodness.
yeah,
She restored her faith in herself and around her peers, and then but then we were just left in kind of a dark mud. The ritual didn't work. We didn't know what to do. I had to delve more into it, and that's when
yeah,
things started getting dark. They realized they had to make some final confrontation. They learned that it wasn't, in fact, you know, the same thing. And then the fact that Andy was kidnapped as well, so that without a doubt had to that would have there was no option that they were going back. They had to go back. They weren't
yeah,
friend, you know. But that's when the manipulative text started coming through, which I still not sure how he actually managed to predict or perfect. It's not like he was controlling him. I don't think. And then then they realize they have to go back. But of course. everything's scarce. Stacy's worried about her mother and family not making it out. Everyone else is worried about their friends. Lily worried about Brittany, who's slowly, if you actually manage to rekindle with Brittany, which I
yeah.
really like. Again, making her a better person. But then you've got to make an option, get to the hospital. But that's when as well you find out everyone who's been affected by Redfield has in fact been taken. Cody, Ben, Dan, and the teacher, which was very deep. But they took the forms of what was against them to fight them, not just the plant monsters. And then when time came to time, they knew they had to fight back. They armed themselves up, and they very strongly knew they had to stick together, and they worked their way through. I was skeptical when it separated them when they were going in for the final fight. They were all separated. It's as if they were break, broken down into different parts of the forest and given specific nightmares and fears about them. And then they tried to they were able to fight back, reluctant, find Andy. But then of course, you reach the house, and that is when the most unexpected betrayal popped up that I did not even expect. With Noah Sully finding out that he was the one who lured them here, you know, and to find out as well, not only his betrayal of luring them there, but to find out that Redfield died when Jane died. He was at
Yeah.
peace. Jane took his true form, and that kind of that did get me. The fact that we found that it was Jane, I didn't believe it at first, but then it made sense with the way that he's doing all this. And it made
Yeah.
sense with the way that it made sense because Redfield was just their friend. He wouldn't do in a way. I don't think he'd do what Jane did for them. Jane was their friend. She wanted them to be
Helping
friends
them.
still,
Yeah.
so she wanted to help them. But she didn't realize, in a way, I guess she didn't realize how her gifts were damaging others around them. And then the final part comes out. We have to do our ritual in order to end this. And Noah, of course, being a bit naive and reluctant, thinking he can just do the ritual and everyone survives. But of course, he finds that at a quick end. But one thing I was happy about on my first playthrough as well was I managed to get the characters all high enough. They were all strong enough. Um, so it came down to everyone being not scared and just being whizzed away to God knows where. And then it was just left with me and Noah. Um,
So what did you choose?
yeah, had to choose, and then they tried to get Noah to attack. But then he managed to get through to him, and then there comes the epidemics. They realized someone had to take her place. The
Hmm.
first playthrough, I sacrificed myself. I allowed the main character to sacrifice myself. Seemed like the most noble thing to do. Hurt your best friend, you failed to protect. It's only right that you set her free and allow everyone else to live. Then of course you get the regular ending. Noah, who is actually a suspect in your demise, and everyone else who goes on about their lives. You see the backstories, and then you play as Connor for the
Hmm.
ending ceremony. You remember Cora, and then you remember you being this strong, passionate person. I mean, it worked out more or less for everybody else. Lucas got into college. Lily reunited with Brittany. She's working on making her a better person. Stacy becomes a gym coach, gymnastics coach.
Cheerleader. Yeah.
Yeah, she was a cheerleader and became a gymnastics coach. She wanted to help people. Andy got back on the football team after a long injury. Basketball team
Basketball. Yeah.
after his reluctant injury. Then Noah, who lives his life on the run.
Yeah.
Then yeah,
Hiding
he
from
just
police. Yeah.
I think when I saw Noah on the run, I realized it was kind of the wrong choice. The fact that everyone was free apart from him, in a way, kind of made sense. He was still living with the grief of his sister, who was now free, but still, and one of his closest friends, who took her place to be free. And then it got deep. Had the little video at the end to show them all happy as kids.
Yeah.
It was really heartwarming. And then it came to the reluctant end, to which I then replayed um, finally, and I allowed Noah to sacrifice himself, and I was more satisfied with the ending. In a way, Noah did kind of deserve it. He betrayed his friend still, and I can understand why he did what he did, but I wish he didn't, or at least consulted people about it. You know, can't imagine what people go through that kind of pain with. And
Mhm.
then you finally make it out. Everything is able to refix itself. You build your life back up with your love interest. Mine was Stacy. They get together for a long fling, which is turned out to be an actual relationship.
Mhm.
You work, and then you get to stick close to your friends at the end. The speech you gave about Cora, and then about I admit I was hesitant on what to choose when talking about Noah. I was curious, I hope he rots in hell for what he did, or I hope he finds peace, because in a way it was back and forth. But I eventually chose peace. May as well respect him, because in a way he still kind of saved everyone. And then they meet together for the final matchup, and everyone lives happily ever after. And then of course we have the teaser for It Lives Beneath,
Yeah,
which I found interesting, but I also didn't know right off the bat as well. And then of course I'm gonna be tuning into Martian Cat to watch that, because I'm really interested to see how that plays out. So the
yeah,
It Lives story was definitely a a thrill, one of my most thrilling stories I've read so far. Just the excitement of the music and the action scenes, and just the animation, again the art, the characters, the depth. It was just absolutely amazing.
yeah. Like you said, I totally, I share all of your sentiments there, and you have totally put the book, in front of us the way you did. Yeah, that's the whole book. It lives in the woods, and how everything went down in that book, and yeah, it was quite interesting. And in terms of the plot, how they went on about it, the fear, the amount of like how we fought them and how everything was. It was super awesome, with Noah and everything with Jen and how everything turned out, the twists, the turns. It was super awesome, and I hope Pixelberry make more books like this in future. Like the zombie book, it's also gonna follow its suit. In terms of how they made this book, because that was a really high quality book.
Yeah, it was really amazing. Just the depth they went into with the story. They cut no corners with it. They absolutely outdid themselves. I especially like the build up, from long lost friends to a
Yeah.
full, big reunion with everybody.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true. That was super awesome. Let's hope that the future books are also that good.
Mm, should be really interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm almost down here. I don't have much to talk about anymore. It was a fun time, but do you have anything to say about choices or about anything that you have in mind?
Just that I'm so grateful for being able to join the community. You know, they make so many new friends, become a part of this. Enjoy the stories. I feel part of the stories, and one book in particular, Very Scandalous Proposal. I just with it being kind of British themed, I kind of felt a lot about it. It gave me a good laugh, that one specifically. But overall, the stories itself, the choices, community, absolutely everything. So glad I came across it when I did. It's really helped me, and
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what the future holds.
Yeah, exactly. Same, same. I mean, lots of talented people, and lots of things, and I really like playing the stories and all the things that go on, the Instagram, the Twitter and stuff. And I really like life is based off of choices at the moment, and I really like choices. They have become one of a part of my life, a very important part of life. So yeah, and again, thank you. It was a really pleasure. 2 hour and 23 minutes almost passed, and I didn't realize it was a really fun time, and I had lots of fun to talk to you about the books.
Yeah, it was really fun. Thank you again for having me. Sorry for droning on a bit too much. Once
No,
I get into it,
absolutely.
just go into
Yeah,
it.
I really liked listening to your opinion, your insights on the stories, and it was super fun. And I specifically liked the Nanny Affairs and It Lives in the Woods. You have really you presented a picture of the whole book in front of us. So thank you for that.
Yeah. I think the only thing that could really be an issue with was, yeah, like you said, some of the sequels not being sequels, like Foreign Affairs. Maybe that could have had a sequel to revive what was
Mhm.
lost. I know there was a very scandalous proposal that definitely deserved a sequel. That was an amazing book. I'm so upset that didn't have a sequel. And again with the It Lives series, again I think another book would have been great. But we can't have everything.
Exactly. I mean, it is what it is.
Mm.
Yeah, but yeah, it's sad. But again, yeah, if they start giving sequel to every book, then well, there won't be any new books because they would have to make sequel to the old books.
Yeah, anyway, but you know, the stories we get given are absolutely amazing, and still, it's not like we can't, you know, imagine what, like I said, even with a book ending on a solid ending, you can still think of all the possibilities of what could be in your own imagination. And who knows? Maybe people have even made their own concepts of the story, like they've written a whole sequel that they may even appeal. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Totally agree with that. So, on that note, thanks again for joining me. And I would really love it if you come again to discuss, maybe not like about a vague topic, but I don't know, maybe about any particular books or chapters. For instance, you are reading Laws of Attraction every week. So, if we can discuss Laws of Attraction chapters, one chapter or something, that would be super awesome. We can go more in depth about that chapter. So, that would be super awesome.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Just hit me up whenever you want to talk. I'm available most days, and I actually really love being here. This has been a really big experience for me, and I know it's being able to talk out about my feelings of the stories, and I'd love to continue doing it with you. You've been an amazing person to work with. It's been absolutely amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So that would be my pleasure to have you on here again to talk about like specific chapters for like laws of attraction. I'm looking forward to have you again. So when it releases, so I'll have you here again.
Yeah, anytime. Like I said, if you want a co-host, if you want anybody, I will be here. If there's one thing I try to do, it's depth. Like I try to analyze chapters and art in like the most depth I can. Just try to get most of it. It's really insightful, but it's been my pleasure.
Yeah, yeah. It was my pleasure too. It has been my pleasure too to have you here to learn know about your opinion, your thoughts on those awesome books, and I'll be waiting to hear from you again about the chapter analysis and the chapters that if you come here for laws of attraction, that'd be super awesome. Thank you.
Like I said, yeah, I would love to. Just let me know, and we can always arrange something. I would love to be back here. It's been absolutely amazing.
Yeah, thank you again for for coming here, for entertaining all of us, and for all the fun things you said, all of those really passionate stuff about nanny affairs, about it lives. Thank you, thank you. Just
Yeah, no, again, it's been a pleasure just to be here. To finally, I'm all I can say now is I think back to when I first got into choices and decided to go into the community. I'm glad I did what I did. It makes me feel better because one thing I want to do is I want to make people feel better, encourage people, and that's one thing about choices that we can do. With these stories, that you can encourage people with them, make them feel they can do endless possibilities. Make them be amazing people.
yeah, yeah, agree with that. Absolutely agree with that. Okay. So, on that note, then see you again on another video talking about laws of attraction chapters and stay safe, stay blessed. Okay. Just take care.
Okay, thank you. Until next time.
Until next time. Yeah. Bye. Adios.
Adios.